3, 2, 1. Hi everybody, it's time to add some special effects. So that looks pretty good to start. I'm going to show you some advanced code now. If we go to the Looks tab, there's two really important buttons right here. These are graphic effects, which are change and set. So set does something once, and change, it could happen again. So what I'm going to bring in, I've got some pre-saved code here. I'm going to bring this in. So this says set color to 0, and then in a forever loop, I'm going to change color by 1. When I run that code, look at what happens. The background starts to forever change color slowly. If I wanted to really make it go crazy, if I turn that up to 50, it starts to flash, right? Careful if you have epilepsy or any kind of visual thing, because flashing, you can make things flash really easily here. So it's just doing this effect. Now notice there's a couple different effects here. If I click fisheye, whoa. So there's quite a few different effects here where you have whirl effects, ghost will make it even disappear. With ghost, maybe you just kind of want it to be see-through a little bit. So how would I set that back? I would set ghost to 0, change ghost effect by 50. So it flashes for a second. But if I change it to 1, it would create like a slow fade. Right, so it slowly fades out. Now, the more advanced version of that, right? So I'm going to disconnect this code so it doesn't run. I'm going to bring this in. And this is where it starts to get, the coding graphics starts to get pretty cool, is you can put in a forever loop, you put 2 repeat blocks and you change an effect and then you add the negative. So it's going to change, so it's going to repeat 10 times ghost. So it's going to take our ghost, our transparency, up to 150, which means it'll be totally gone. But then what's it going to do? It's going to do repeat 10 times negative. So it's going to bring it back, which is going to create like a pulsing effect. So we can start to play around with this with some of the graphics. So if I change this around, I'm going to change this to fisheye, and I'm going to change fisheye and fisheye, and we press play. All right, now we're getting somewhere, right? If I duplicate this and maybe I wanted to change this effect, you can start to duplicate these. I can start to set color, press play. So now it's going to start to change color and doing this like bump thing. If you wanted to slow this down, what would you do? You would add more repeats and you take this change down a little bit. So if we wanted to slow that bumping down, if we set this to 20 and 20, so that slows down the top. And if we set this down, and we could take the smaller we make this number, the slower it'll go. So if I change that by 5 and -5, now it's doing the movement, but it's doing it slower, right? So we can start to experiment and do some really rad, cool stuff. So try to keep your shapes. You can start to mess around with the rotation, the speed. You can start to add some special effects. Really excited to see what you make. And if you want to change the background, feel free. All right, let's get to it. And I'm really jazzed. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. Okay, have a great one. Bye.